This is News 6 Tonight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of News 6 Tonight. The week is just flying by. It goes by so quickly anymore, and the year is, well, let's
Almost
just count
over.
down to 2026 starting right now, but let's not do that right now. Thank you so much for making some time in your busy day to catch up on some of the headlines. I'm Ginger Gadsden, sitting next to the stellar Lewis Bolden is in for Matt Austin tonight. Lewis, I'm always happy to see you.
Well,
This is
thank
our
you.
first time doing the show together,
It
I think.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
Okay,
So
because
I'm
you've
glad
always
to
been.
be here.
Yeah, and it's so nice to have you. And in a little bit, we're going to talk about some of the investigations you've been doing because you
Okay.
do the schemes and ripoffs. And
Right.
this is the time of year so much happens to people and they don't even see it coming. And before they know it, it is just too late.
Listen, I always say everybody is after your money. There are so many schemes and scams out there. So we're going to tell you about some of the latest ones we've seen.
Yeah.
But we're going to start tonight with a serious story, a sad story that is out of Seminole County, where the victim, a 51-year-old man, was killed. It started with two people in a vehicle.
Hmm.
One pointed a gun at another, and then shots rang out.
Yeah.
And so it's a sad story that happened right in a neighborhood. There were houses nearby. But our News 6 community correspondent, Catherine Silver, has more on that.
An overnight argument between two drivers ends with one of them dead, and detectives say this is a stand your ground case. I'm Catherine Silver, your Seminole County community correspondent. The sheriff's office says this started here in the Mandarin Estates neighborhood in the Longwood area, where two drivers were arguing. Both of them were armed, and this is where it ended, where a truck plowed through this fence after the sheriff's office says one driver opened fire.
Just before 1 in the morning, I thought I heard someone knocking on our door, bam, bam, bam.
Valerie Schultz woke up to the sounds she later learned were gunshots. When she came outside, she saw just how close an altercation that ended in gunfire came to her home, where the sheriff's office says two armed drivers argued. One of them opened fire, causing the other to crash.
The car apparently came from the street across our yard. You can see this branch is broken here. Here's the tire track here. So they were about 3 feet from the corner of the house.
Her address sign smashed into pieces.
It was right here in with the rocks.
And it didn't stop there. The car crashed through Diane Prince's fence.
I opened the blinds and there was all this police activity. And then I realized that the yellow tape was around my property. There's an older guy who lives in our neighborhood, is what I understand. Just so tragic.
The sheriff's office has not released the 51-year-old's name. Property records show he lived just down the street from where he was shot.
They had their guns with them, which turned a temporary problem into a fatal situation.
And Ginger, the thing you have to think about, it's so sad. It's so sad. But, Florida is an open carry state. It is
Yeah.
legal to carry a weapon in your vehicle as
Yeah.
long as it is properly encased.
Mhm.
And so you really just have to assume that everybody is armed. And in this case, they were
They both
both
were,
armed.
yeah. And I always assumed this is why it is so important, Lewis. We are careful in what we call the story. We didn't call it a road rage story, but you have two people in a car. obviously angry about something that transpired on the road, right? There's nothing you can do to me on the highway that's going to make me stare you down, chase you down,
Mhm.
and much less shoot you or have to shoot you. I don't even make contact with people. If you want to cut me off, please go ahead. If you want to be in one car ahead of me, you can have that space because I'm going to be right behind you.
I
It
am the
doesn't
same
matter.
way. I'm the same way. I do not even engage. And sometimes you do things by accident. I remember
Yes.
being on I-4 one day and I was just going and I could feel that the car beside me was just staring at me. And I looked over. Apparently, I had done something, but you cannot even engage. And so I
No,
didn't. I just
you
looked
can't.
away and kept going.
Because you have no idea how people will interpret your look.
Exactly.
Anything, even anymore, Lewis. I try to like thank people who let me in,
Mhm.
but I'm hesitant. This is sad. I'm hesitant to do that because I don't want them to take that as some sort of that I'm doing something else with my hands.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
trying to say thank you for letting me in because it's so unusual anymore.
Yeah.
But this is where we are now in
This
our
is where we
society,
are.
which is terrifying. And this is the worst time it could possibly happen. You're talking about right after Thanksgiving and right
Oh
before
my God.
Christmas. So
Right.
families are devastated on both sides of this. So it's
Exactly.
just awful. All right, let's talk about something that's a little more uplifting. Are you a cruiser? Do you like a
I love going on
Do
cruises.
you?
I feel like cruises, that is the only time I truly disconnect
Yeah.
because my husband and I, we have a deal that we do not buy data packages.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
not constantly
What?
checking email and all of that. So, yes, that's the only time I feel
How do
like
you
I
let your
truly
friends know what
disconnect
a great time you're
when
having?
I get back.
That is the way to do it. Well, if you've ever cruised out of Port Canaveral, which I'm
Yes.
sure we all have, if you're a cruiser and you're living in Florida, it is now the world's busiest port,
Yes.
surpassing Port Miami with 8.6 million people
It's a lot of
this year.
traffic.
It really, really is, but it's a nice thing for the economy. It's great for the port. That
Hmm.
means jobs are strong and steady.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's a big industry. So your community correspondent Troy Campbell asked the question of how can you support all of that going on and keep everyone in the community happy too?
The most visited cruise ship terminal in all of the world. I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, and we are in Port Canaveral because they announced on Tuesday that they see more cruise ship passengers than anywhere, including down south in Port Miami. Take a look.
I think it's great for the state of Florida. It's great for our tourism. It's great for our hotels, our tax base. It's just a good thing overall for everybody.
Port Canaveral CEO Captain John Murray announcing on Tuesday that Port Canaveral saw 8.6 million passengers in 2025. He says that's a 13% increase in passenger traffic from 2024.
It's just a very, very strong business market right now, and we've been fortunate to bring in some great numbers, which I think is a real testament to all of the folks at Port Canaveral that do the hard work every day to make our port what it is.
Captain Murray says Port Canaveral is now home to 18 ships and handled more than 6 million tons of cargo. Because of the growth, Captain Murray adds they are currently planning for a 7th cruise ship terminal, but adds that will take several years until completion.
Obviously, a lot of what we're doing is costing more money, but it's improving the overall guest experience, and that's what we're all about, is to have a very high guest satisfaction rating.
High guest satisfaction. And, I've talked to people who've been on cruises and like you, they love it. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
only way. It's all inclusive. You get on, you're in your floating city and
Exactly.
you lose contact with all the people on shore. It's like, bye.
And one of my favorite things of being on vacation is when you have that moment of, wait, is it Tuesday? Is it
Oh, that is the
Wednesday? I
best. That
love
is the
that
best until
moment.
you come back and then you realize what day it is and then you got to go to work the next day.
Exactly.
But you know why I love work? Because it affords you to go on, it allows you to go on those
Exactly.
cruises. So I'm like, I'm happy to be back at work. People are like, are you sad to be back after your vacation? I'm like, absolutely not.
You know what? And one other thing, a good thing about that story, all this year we have heard so much about layoffs and how
Yes.
people are struggling. It is nice to see that this industry is growing
Yeah.
and more jobs will be added to the Central Florida
We
area. So that's
love to
great.
hear that. That is for sure. All right, Lewis, you have been working on schemes and ripoffs for a
Yes.
while now as one
Yes.
of our investigators. You did a story on Monday
Mhm.
that I had never even, I'm familiar with drug mules.
Yes.
Like people, and I know it from watching Locked Up Abroad.
Okay.
These people are always scammed into like, hey, carry this package for me. And,
Right,
and
right,
they
right,
take it
right.
across the border and it's always drugs. But there's something else going on. It's a money mule is what you call
A
it.
money mule, yeah. And a money mule is someone that transports money for someone else, money that was acquired illegally. And often the mule doesn't even realize that they're doing it.
Yeah.
This guy right here that you're looking at,
Mhm.
he stopped one of these transactions in its tracks.
Who is he?
His name is Alejandro Ulate, and he has a transportation company. He also drives for Uber. And what happened was he picked up a ride, and it was just a regular ride. And shortly afterwards, he got a message in the Uber app saying this will be a package only.
Mhm.
So he gets to the location and he says there was an 80 something year old man, he assumed, that looked frightened standing outside.
Mhm.
And he took the package, he drove off, but he was in banking for 5 years and he felt the package and he said,
He
There's-
knows what money feels like.
exactly. So he drove back to the man and said, "Sir," he opened the package. There was $11,000 in cash.
Mm.
He drove back to the man and said, "Sir, I think you're being scammed." And sure enough, he was still on the phone with the scammers. We talked to the Lake County Sheriff's Office about this. They said they have seen it many times before. The woman you're looking at had a similar situation happen to her. And unfortunately, she lost about $150,000, and the scammers had her get gold bars, and they sent drivers to pick it up. So this is
So
happening.
you
more and
did this.
more.
This was a separate story that
A
you did, and
separate
and your
story.
a light bulb went off in your head.
Yep. Because if he had come to me prior to this, Alejandro,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have known what to do with this. But because I had done the story in Lady Lake
Mhm.
before that,
Yeah.
I knew exactly what this was. I had seen it before, so I knew what to do with it.
It's so sad to me, Lewis, especially because that first Uber driver that we talked about,
Mhm.
he told the 81-year-old gentleman, it's like, I think you're being scammed. And even though the guy agreed with him, I think I am, he still handed him the money.
He was frightened, and the woman that I interviewed was also in her 80s in Lady Lake, and she was terrified of what was going on. And let me tell you something about that too. The only reason she had $150,000 is because her husband had just passed and left her a life insurance
My
policy.
goodness.
And then she was scammed out of it. So it really, really just frustrates you.
It boils your blood. It just
Yes.
makes you so angry. But these scammers obviously know there's a certain age group that they can prey upon, and they
Right.
do it so well. But
Yeah.
this next guy, who was also an Uber driver, was not an elderly gentleman.
No, no, not at all. In fact, he's a single dad. He works 3 jobs, including driving for Uber. There he is, right there. And I love a story when I learn something. I had not heard of this happening. So, in a nutshell, he gets a ride, he gets to the location, stops, there's no one there. But then he gets a telephone call that says, "This is Uber support. This is a ghost ride. We need you to pull over while we investigate what's going on. We got a claim from a previous rider that they smelled alcohol in your vehicle, and we need
Oh
to
my
investigate
gosh.
this." And he's like, "Wait a minute, I don't even drink." And so they said, "We need to investigate this. We need to ask you a couple of questions. We need to put you on hold." He was on the side of the road for about 30 to 40 minutes. They would put him on hold and come back. They said, "We've contacted previous riders who did not have the same thing." But then they said, "We also investigated the person who made this claim. And we found out that this person has made this same claim against 5 other drivers. So we believe
Okay.
this person is just trying to get reimbursed for their rides." So they said, "For the time that we've had you off the road, we want to reimburse you. Open your app." They had him,
Oh my
they said, "Do
gosh.
this, and this, and we're going to credit your account $100 for the time you've been off the
That
road."
sounds great.
Right? So he opens his app and they walk him through how to do it. Do this, this, and this. And when he did this, this, and this, he sent them all of the money that was in his account. It was about $430. He said, "Thank goodness he had just paid some bills, so that's all was in there." But he said, "I'm a single dad. I have a kid. I'm working 3 jobs. That $430 meant a lot to me." And so Uber is aware that it's happening. And so they are now notifying their drivers of what's happening. Also, I need to point out, too, that we also, on the previous story about the money mules, we
Mhm.
got a statement from Uber as well. They are aware that that's happening. And they said that any driver who declines a package will not
Yeah.
be penalized for that. So these drivers have to
Unbelievable.
be on the lookout and
Yeah.
be alert. I
Because
had not.
these scammers are getting so much more
Oh yeah.
sophisticated.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. I would
Yes.
not think of that. That is, but the other thing I think about too is like, I know I don't drink. I know there was no alcohol in my car. I'm hanging up. But if this is your livelihood and this
Right.
is how you make money, you take that seriously.
And when the call says Uber support
Yeah.
and they make
Yeah.
these claims, you really feel like
Yeah.
you're being investigated. And his first thing was, I need this job.
Of course.
I
Of
need this
course.
job. And
Yeah.
so we want all of those drivers out there to be alert and be on the lookout because they are trying to
Yeah.
scam you.
All right. Finally, speaking of people
Yes.
trying to scam you, this one really, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
We are talking about skimmers, right?
Yes.
I think about skimmers at gas stations and the gas pump, and I always like shake it up or
Yes.
whatever. This week, when you told me I could go into a grocery store or any kind of convenience store and
Yep.
there could be a skimmer there, and we saw somebody on video
Yes.
inserting one,
hmm
oh my gosh.
And Ginger, listen, first of all, the Secret Service gave us such access. You can see them right there. They
Hmm.
are removing the actual skimmer from an ATM machine. That same machine also had a PIN camera embedded. And those are the guys that you were talking about.
Yes.
You see them right there?
Yes, I do.
It's so quick. And what he did was put an entire overlay over the money processor.
Hmm.
And he did it so quickly. You can see the clerk just turned over and see, here's how the overlay goes. And that's an analyst with the Secret Service.
Yeah.
She is very good at what she does.
Mm,
But
look at that.
and that's a tool that they use. Now, when you slide that in and it goes in like that,
Yeah.
there's no skimmer. But if it gets stuck, that tells you there's a
There's something
skimmer
in
on
there.
that device. She also showed us right there that what they do is they come back, they will put the skimmer on, the crooks will come back and they can put a magnet to it and it retrieves all of the data. So they don't even have to remove it and they get all of those cards. One more thing I want to say about this. The reason the Secret Service did this
Mhm.
is because they were trying to cut down on EBT fraud.
Okay.
So a lot of people receive their SNAP benefits on EBT cards.
Yeah.
EBT cards don't have the same technology. They don't have the chip technology.
Low tech. Yeah.
Yes, so they are more susceptible to skimmers.
So
So
they're preying on the people who really need the cards, and they know that they don't have the high tech cards that many of us have.
exactly. And
That's
in a
so
couple of
sad.
weeks, I'm going to interview I'm going to have the story of a woman that this happened to. And what they do is they wait until the first of the month
Hmm.
and swipe all of their benefits. So these people don't have food money for a month.
Louis, I love working with you, but you make me so angry when I.
Listen, they make me angry, but
You're
my
so-
job is to notify the public.
Yeah, you
and
do
the
it
reason I put these stories on
phenomenally.
is so that when you see these things
Mhm.
and then you're faced with it, you'll say,
Yeah.
not me. I'm not falling for this one.
That's
I know
true.
what this is.
And I love that people are not afraid now to come forward knowing that they didn't do anything wrong. They aren't the crooks.
Mhm.
And so they want to help other people because before people were so, and still it happens, people are so embarrassed. They're like, how could I have let this happen to me? I'm ashamed. I don't want to tell anybody. But if you keep that to yourself, it could happen to somebody
And
else.
it will happen to somebody else. And
Yeah.
I am so honored when people trust me with their stories
Mhm.
because you're right. A lot of people are embarrassed. They don't
Yeah.
want to come forward. But other people take that attitude. If I don't come forward, this will happen to someone else. So I am grateful for all of those people who share their stories with us.
Well, Louis, we are grateful for you as one of our
Yeah.
incredible investigators. You've been doing it for a while now, and you do it so well. And so many people are so lucky that when they get in touch with you, you are able to help them. And we as a community are lucky to have you because you get the word out. And sometimes it's too late for other people, but you certainly educate the rest of us and make sure. I know I don't do anything anymore. I just, I was like, Louis told me not to do it. He said, this is a scam. And sometimes that's with my husband. I'm like, no,
No, we're
Louis
not
said,
doing
don't do
that.
it. Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God, you should hear my husband. I'm like, don't click that. Don't click
Don't do it.
anything.
Oh my
Yes, no,
gosh,
I'm a
yeah.
little paranoid around
All
the house,
right,
but
Louis,
it's with
thank you. It's so wonderful to talk about these stories and let people know that there's somebody working for them. All right, we have a lot more to talk about on News 6 tonight. Stay with us because when we come back, we're going to talk about charter schools. It's pretty controversial for a lot of families, but
Mhm.
one community is doing something that is unusual, and I think you're going to like it. the lady from the sheriff just a little while ago, I think. So we'll make sure we have that for News 6 tonight. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We know you're busy, but news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
That's right. And this is News 6 Tonight, where we leverage this entire busy newsroom with our community correspondents, our producers, our content desk, and then we filter through that. We have a casual conversation about the news that impacts Central Florida.
Yeah, we live here in the community, and we rely on you for our neighborhood network because you're our eyes and ears as well, and we can't do it without you.
So you can watch us all over the place, YouTube, News 6 Plus app, and clickorlando.com. While you're here, feel free to engage. Let us know who you are and where you're from.
Welcome back to News 6 Tonight, everyone. Now that you know how to not get ripped off for the entire season, thank you, Lewis Bolden. We're going to talk about something that is unusual. You know, we talk about schools all the time, and sometimes when schools fail, something has to be done. And a lot of people think the answer would be charter schools, but and sometimes it really does work out. There's something that parents at Orange Center Elementary have a choice now. They can convert their school into a charter school, but our News 6 correspondent Jarrell Baker explains why it's not going to be just a normal charter school.
Should Orange Center Elementary School be a charter school? Now, that is something that several parents will decide in January. I'm your community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, here in the newsroom. Now, this is not your typical charter school. It would actually be Orange County Public Schools and the nonprofit Lift Orlando working and operating the school together, as opposed to the typical arrangement where a separate charter school operates inside of a public school. Nadia Belmont's son goes to Orange Center Elementary, where she plans to enroll her younger son at the school when he's old enough.
I've been in situations where I've moved him to different schools and they didn't have any patience for my kid. Here, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Salima Simmons pulled her son out of Orange Center Elementary in 2018.
It's a totally different school.
The parents say that the new staff at the school and nonprofit Lift Orlando were major parts of that change. Now parents will have an opportunity to vote on converting Orange Center Elementary into a charter school. This will be a partnership, allowing the school to remain a public school as both sides work together to give students more support than they might get in a traditional school setting. Everything from academics to social services.
NSI will be the entity that runs the school. That will be the governance, working through Lift Orlando and through the board that NSI creates.
Yeah, and what's good about this is parents in January will receive ballots by mail to vote for the innovative charter school or to keep the school the same. And that's something that Jarrell will continue to follow for us and see what happens. But as long as anything that will make it better, especially for the kids, people are on board.
Exactly. And we will wait to see how that turns out. But Ginger, we've got some more good news tonight. So the city of Orlando will be opening its first new fire station, and get this, in nearly 2 decades.
It seems like a long time.
It seems like a long time. And you know what? People are really excited about where this is going to be. It's going to be in the Lake Nona area.
Okay.
An area that is growing by leaps and bounds. So there is a lot of congestion right now.
For sure.
So News 6's community correspondent Angie Casada has more on that.
I'm your community correspondent, Angie Casada, and we're in Lake Nona, where the city of Orlando just broke ground for a new fire station after almost nearly 2 decades. Now, take a look behind me. This is going to be the future site of Station 18, and this is a big deal because it's a much-needed addition for a community that's been feeling the impact of traffic gridlock on Narcoossee Road. Now take a look. These are the renderings released by the city. The future Station 18 features a modern design, advanced technology, and even acoustic separation between living quarters and the response areas, allowing firefighters to rest despite heavy call volumes. But for the people who live in Lake Nona, what really matters is where the station is going. It'll have direct access to Narcoossee Road, an area that we've reported on for months because of constant traffic backups. Drivers have called it.
Okay, so a lot of people in that area are really excited about that.
Yeah, and I can't believe it's been that long, but they obviously need it because that area is growing so quickly, as you mentioned. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's already, they broke ground, so it's well underway. Sure, Angie will update us on that story. Something else we need an update on is the forecast. It has been phenomenal. I stepped outside tonight. I don't know if it's a full moon or close to a full moon, but I know who can answer that for me. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis joins us now. Hey, Jonathan, it's so nice outside.
It's fantastic. It is so close to a full moon. That's
Okay.
tomorrow. It's a super moon, and it's actually the highest moon in our sky. I think that it's the highest it's going to be in our sky until 2042
I
again.
knew he would know. Right?
So
I just, there's
it's,
not, you can't stump this guy. You
He's a
can't.
scientist.
Yeah.
No,
I'm sure you could.
We're
but not
gonna
on that.
try, yeah.
Not on that. Not on that. Yeah, and it's fantastic out there, guys. You mentioned it. It is nice and comfy. Yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be picky. I thought it was a little too humid for my taste, a little too warm.
Okay.
Stepping
Okay,
outside this
spoil
afternoon.
much.
I know. It's our time. It's the comfy time. But that cold front came through last night. There's another one that we're tracking for the weekend. So we're gonna have the latest timeline on that, and we're gonna talk about some rain trying to come in our direction. We could use a good drink out there. I don't know about you. The lawn's a little crunchy out there.
Yeah,
There's
it
some
is.
coming. We're gonna talk about that weekend system coming up a little bit in just a few minutes.
All right, Jonathan, we'll see you at 9:30. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome to News 6 Tonight. We are so thankful that you're joining us here wherever you found us.
Yeah, you know what this tells me? If you have made this your new streaming destination, it tells me you're smart. Also good looking because you chose to watch the news in a different way. That makes you really smart. Anybody can give you the news from a teleprompter or an old newspaper. We do it in a fresh new way.
That's right. So check us out wherever you like to stream. We have this app for your TV, News 6 Plus. You can find it on Roku and Amazon and whatever your smart TV is cooking. So thank you. We would love to hear your comments down
Oh my
below.
gosh. Yeah.
And then we'll show them.
Yeah, we will. News 6 Plus. The plus is you.
Ooh.
Hey, we're out of time. Thanks for joining us. And thank you, Lewis, for being here. We'll see you again with the news at 10. Bye.